Swadika, very good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight. I'm Nabunag live at the studio and Kun Tulip Naksompop Blauw is live from home. Swadika, Kun Tulip.
Swadika, good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. Still adjusting even though it's the second week, but you know, there's always something different when you work from home.
Definitely. And today we're seeing triple digits again for the new COVID-19 cases, right?
Yes, today we got the 3 digits in the new cases, 287 to be exact. The Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration, or CCSA, has said that 278 of those are locally acquired infections. 9 were imported and there have been no new fatality. There are still 4,035 patients receiving treatment, 28 of whom are in a serious condition. The largest group of 125 new cases in Samut Sakhon, they include 121 migrant workers and 4 Thais, followed by Bangkok, recorded 31 cases. Since the new outbreak began in mid-December last year, Thailand has recorded over 6,000 cases, more than half of them in Samut Sakhon, followed by over 600 in Chonburi, over 540 in Rayong, and almost 500 cases in Bangkok. There are now 59 provinces with confirmed infections, the latest one being Roy Et province with one positive case, So in an attempt to familiarize the public with the idea of field hospital, if you saw the press conference earlier today, it was held in front of the field hospital on the grounds of a university in Ubon Ratchathani province. Dr. Thavisin said that the facility can handle as many as 1,000 patients. Ubon Ratchathani currently has 3 cases and over 100 other people considered to be in the at-risk group who had been in contact with the infected. So as like you see in the video right now, they are setting up the field hospital, and Dr. Thavisin, the spokesperson of CCSA, reiterated the importance of having field hospitals in each province and asked for understanding from the communities, because some of which are still showing resistance to the idea.
And in light of the COVID-19 situation, in light of the newest outbreak, we're also seeing a large amount of fake news that are circulating right now. Some of them have resurfaced from the first outbreak, and the motto that says don't believe in everything you read is actually still a very good advice for all of us and all of the netizens, as we're still seeing a large amount of fake news and misinformation related to COVID-19. Recently, the COFACT, or the Collaborative Fact-Checking Thailand, has identified at least 5 fake news stories related to the latest wave of COVID-19 infections. The co-founder of COFACT Thailand, Supinya Klang revealed the top 5 misleading stories about COVID-19 being shared online. The first one, that says all Thais must enter lockdown, is actually from a fake voice recording claiming to be the voice of Professor Dr. Prasit Wattanapa of the Faculty of Medicine at Sirirat Hospital, urging a lockdown of the entire country. The faculty actually released a statement denying that it is the professor's voice and urging the public not to share this recording. Another claim that has been circulated online is that drinking lemonade can kill the coronavirus, which of course is not true, but we've been hearing this for a couple of times now. This item of nonsense first appeared in March last year, if we remember, and the former Director General of the Disease Control Department, Pontep Siriwanarangsan, has already explained that lemons cannot kill the virus, though they are rich in vitamin C. Similarly, misleading claims that lemon juice mixed with soda and vinegar can also kill the coronavirus is also unproven, and the Department of Thai Traditional and Alternative Medicine have asked the public not to share this false information. Claim number 3 says those who adopt an alkaline diet will lower their chance of becoming infected with COVID-19. So in addition to this claim, there are others who say that COVID-19 will not attack vegetarians and vegans. Medical experts have already debunked these claims, explaining that the pH levels or the acidity in human blood are usually between 7.35 to 7.45, regardless of whether the person is vegetarian or not. Another expert actually said that eating large amounts of fruits and veggies cannot change the pH levels. Therefore, this claim is incorrect and overly exaggerated. And there's another claim that says mailing parcels can pass on the coronavirus. This false claim first appeared in April last year. Now it is doing the rounds again. So recently, Thailand Post has announced on their official website that they have imposed stringent sanitization measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And the very last claim that says standing in direct sunlight can kill the coronavirus, which of course is not true. This first appeared in March last year, and this claim has already been debunked by the Disease Control Department, who explained that the coronavirus can be resistant to heat up to 90 degrees, but sunlight does not reach that temperature. Supinya Bangnorong also stated that these urban myths are just some of many examples of how the coronavirus outbreak attracts a large amount of fake news and misinformation. Although these claims are already debunked by the experts, but some have resurfaced. So COFACT is strongly advising people to double and triple check the information they receive before believing it, and especially before sharing it with other people. COFACT also blames the Thai habit of not correcting one another when they encounter wrong information, leading to the circulation of fake news over and over again. So currently, Thailand has a number of organizations which deal with fake news and misinformation. Apart from COFACT, there is the Ministry of Digital Economy and Society and the Share and Share Center of MCOT.
As I remember, the Share and Share Center of MCOT, I think, is the first one. They have been doing it for so many years now, and they have been in training session with a lot of organizations, with Google as well, and also with the U.S. Embassy as well. And they've been to United States to get some more training and some seminars. So the Share and Share Center is actually pretty credible when it comes to fact checking.
Definitely.
And when you were talking about lemon juice, I would say it's definitely refreshing, lemon juice and soda. I'm not sure about adding vinegar in there. Vitamin C make you feel refreshed, but it's not going to kill germs, right?
It's not going to kill germs, but it's still healthy in a way because it gives you a lot of vitamin C, but of course it's not going to kill the virus, and especially that coronavirus as well.
And standing in the sun, if it's 90 degrees, it will kill you before the germs, I think.
Definitely, because I don't think 90 degrees is actually healthy, because imagine if you're standing in the middle of the desert. Of course, you cannot stand that sort of weather.
And that's not even 90 degrees in the desert.
Yes, it's not even 90 degrees at all. At most would be around like 50 degrees at most, but nothing would be like 90 degrees. That's completely impossible.
Yes. Okay, next on the list of news, the cabinet today resolved to said that they will have some relief measures urgently to help the public and the SMEs, small and medium-sized businesses. The cabinet said that they will try to boost the liquidity, increase the benefit for the unemployed, and reduce the cost of living by lowering the electricity and water bills in February and March. Talking about the electricity bills, the household using fewer than 150 units of electricity will not be charged for the first 90 units in the month of February and March. Those exceeding 150 units will be charged discounted rate in accordance with the conditions yet to be announced. For small enterprises, the first 50 units of electricity will be free of charge. And for the water bills, a flat 5% discount will be given to all households and small enterprises, with the exception of government and state enterprises. The government will also ask internet providers to reduce fees and increase connection speeds in support of people having to work from home. The announcement was made via the Prime Minister's Facebook page. It said that by the end of this month, the government will finalize more subsidies, which will help those who are struggling financially. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha assured that the government still has enough money to take care of the economic issues resulting from this new outbreak of COVID-19. The Finance Ministry is authorized to spend 1 trillion baht to revive the economy and relieve a society affected by COVID-19. And so far, the government has been spending only 500 billion. So Mr. Prayut promised that the government will spend the taxpayers' money effectively and in a timely manner. So he asked the public to be confident that the government can handle the latest outbreak. He said that Thailand had no experience or knowledge when the first wave hit last year, but still did very well. This time around, with the expertise of public health officials and most importantly, with cooperation from everyone, Thailand will be able to get past the crisis. That's what the Prime Minister said. Most of all, he wants everyone to have confidence in the government.
Definitely. And on top of this news, Thailand's social security system is also planning to pay for the COVID-19 screening of at-risk groups as well. So Thailand's social security system will now cover the cost of COVID-19 screening for people in at-risk groups and people who are advised to take the test by a doctor, including outpatient diagnosis costs. The announcement by the medical committee published on the Royal Gazette website also stated that the Social Security will also cover the cost of proactive screening or active case finding in Samut Sakhon, Chonburi, Rayong, Chanthaburi, and Trat provinces. The announcement stated that the test will be paid for. So the announcement stated that the test that will be paid for is the real-time RT-PCR that the Disease Control Board has authorized. So good news is that the internet bills, the water bills, and the electricity bills will be reduced, and the social security system will also pay for the COVID-19 screening as well.
If you are in an at-risk group or in those 5 provinces that consider the highest control and restrict zone. Okay, so actually there's like we know before, there's so many sectors in the society that has been affected by COVID-19. This outbreak and second time around is somehow worse than the previous one. It looks like it's going to be longer. It's going to take longer to contain. So today, the operators of passenger vans offer services between Bangkok and the suburbs have asked the government to negotiate with financial institutions to grant them a debt moratorium of 3 to 6 months because they cannot afford their monthly installments. Mr. Panya Rodngim, president of the Passenger Van Operators Association, he said that he and other association members will submit a petition today addressed to Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha seeking his help in easing the financial burden of about 24,000 baht per month, which they are contracted to pay or to leasing companies. He said that a passenger van operator now earns an average of 100 to 200 baht per day only because there are hardly any passengers due to the COVID-19 pandemic. He said that many passengers have switched to the Green Line electric train service between Mochit and Khukot via Sapan Mai, which has been operating a trial run free of charge. Panya said that about 100,000 passengers normally use passengers' vans per day, but the numbers dropped substantially during the first COVID-19 outbreak last year. It's dropped to 60,000 a day, and right now on the second outbreak, and the average passenger loads dropped to just 1,000 people a day. So it's actually down like on to only 1%. There are between 2,500 and 3,000 vans operating between Bangkok and its suburb each day in association with the Bangkok Mass Transit Authority, the sole operator of city bus services. So without government help, Panya warned that many operators might have to return their vehicles to the leasing companies or let them be repossessed. So a lot of them will be put out of business if there is no help from the government, in another word.
And another piece of interesting news today, there are 654 bags of used medical gloves for resale that has been seized by the police today. Today, the Metropolitan Police Bureau and the Food and Drug Administration has seized 654 bags of used rubber gloves, which were being repackaged as new medical gloves from a warehouse in Pathum Thani province. If sold, the haul could have been worth 100 million baht. Police received a tip, which led to the seizure. The used glove appeared to have come from many sources, while the repackaging for sale began late last year. The used gloves were sold at 160 baht per box, so that's a lot here. Deputy Secretary General of the FDA, Supatra Bunseum, explained that the boxes, which display the logo of a hospital, could mislead doctors and medical personnel. Therefore, she urged them to verify approved manufacturers and importers through the FDA's website. Illegal importation, manufacturing, or sale of medical equipment must be reported via the FDA's hotline at 1556. Manufacturing and or selling medical equipment which is deemed to be unsafe is subject to 3 years in prison and or a fine of up to 300,000 baht.
I would say this is very alarming. I mean, it's gloves, it's like masks. You shouldn't use it for the second time. Doesn't matter how you clean it, and you're not even sure whether it can be cleaned properly. This thing is one-time use. I mean, so far we only hear the news about they try to clean and resell and repackage the mask, one-time use mask, disposable mask. This is the first time for me that I heard the news about this. They try to resell the used gloves. It's very alarming.
Definitely, because the things like masks and gloves, these are the things that the medical personnel really need to begin with. And the resale of these items, actually, like, you're taking advantage of these people.
Yes. Now, the group of people that have been affected by this latest outbreak, we were talking about household debt yesterday. We were talking about the tourism industry. We also talk about the vans operator today. Another group that has been affected, and most of the time they don't know how to explain it, are the children that have to shift to learn online. And the experts said that learning online is actually hurting them. A recent report by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO, suggests that the fresh wave of COVID-19 is threatening to plunge Thai students into deeper summer slide, as school closure affected more than 15 million students. So the word summer slide usually refers to a loss of academic skills and knowledge over the course of summer vacation in countries that have lengthy breaks. But what is now happening in Thailand, students? The experts said it could be termed as COVID-19 slide.
Right.
And this happened despite the fact that by last July, Thai students had returned to classroom after the outbreak was quickly contained. So ever since the first wave of coronavirus hit Thailand early last year, students have done most of their learning online rather than in the classroom. Dr. Phumsaran Thongliamnak, an education economist at the Equitable Education Research Institute, or EFI, said that research shows that children away from schools for 6 weeks lose half an academic year in terms of knowledge, and that is a lot. Just a few weeks after the second semesters began in early December, the new wave of COVID-19 emerged. And the Education Ministry has now ordered all schools in 28 red zone provinces, including Bangkok, to close and adopt online learning from January 4th until the end of January 31st. Schools in other provinces can also do the same, depending on the local authorities' view about how serious COVID-19 situation develops in their areas. The school closure may last longer this time, given new infections are rising at a worrying rate. Professor Dr. Sompong Jitradap of Chulalongkorn University's Faculty of Education said that learning loss impacts will be felt again. And this time, the impacts could be bigger as there is no end in sight for the second wave yet. That sounds very scary. And Dr. Yongpu Warawan, a very renowned virologist, well respected, he also expressed his concern about the impact on the education. He said that Thai education is already lagging behind others. Closing schools will take a larger toll. Yet it is absolutely necessary to close schools in cities with widespread contagion.
At the same time, Dr. Pumsaran said it was clear that online classes were not as effective as schoolroom classes. So the problems generally worsen for children who lack access to equipment for the shift to online learning. Some children, especially those from cash-strapped families and those with learning disabilities, will drift away from the education system after spending so much time at home. So what can be done? Dr. Pumsaran said many teachers have created impressive content for online learning, while many schools have arranged offline support such as delivering textbooks, learning materials, as well as advice to students. At the same time, Professor Dr. Sompong recommended that great learning and teaching media should be compiled into a national digital platform to support both teachers and students. He also added that the Education Ministry should be flexible in its evaluation of learning outcomes and let schools and teachers have their say. So that's an overview of how the COVID-19 situation impacts the education system here.
Yes, and now kids are in trouble, and it's also a lot of more work for both teachers and parents. And parents that work from home, they have to allocated their time to help with their children learning online as well. And as a teacher, they cannot see the reaction of their students. It's very difficult to get two-way communication, I think, with the online learning. And when you don't get reaction from students, you cannot tell whether they understand or they need more explanation. And most of Thai kids don't really speak up.
Yeah. Because some Thai students are actually even too afraid to even raise their hands or even ask a question because of the Thai culture to begin with, as opposed to international schools or in like a school where you have a lot of foreign students here. If someone does not understand something, they would ask a question straight away. So there's a different setting here, and with the online learning system, it's a lot harder for students and teachers to communicate with each other and to check whether they actually understand what is going on, or even if the students are actually on the same page or understand the same thing.
I know that this is not a unique problem to Thailand only, because kids around the world experiencing this COVID-19, this limited movement activity, that they have to stay home and learning online. But this issue, it's widened the gap of inequality between kids in the urban area, in the well-off family, and like you said in the articles, that with kids that have problem financially.
And of course, like, it shows that there is a digital divide between those in urban areas who can afford the equipment, whether it's the internet, the iPads, or things that would help them with the online learning, while rural areas, some families could not even afford internet or even a computer for their children. And like what we mentioned earlier, those with disabilities would even fall even much behind because the problems of online learning as well.
So we just have to hope that the education ministry will come up with something to help alleviate the standard of the learning system, at least in the provinces, to make it a little better for all those children, underprivileged children specifically.
Definitely. I forgot to mention one thing. If we all remember, this has nothing to do with what we've been talking about today. A couple of days ago, there's like a YouTube video by Primary Pie, who is a very famous YouTuber, who actually went to this very rural and remote area of Chiang Mai. I think the name is called Goi, right? Where she was actually there and helped these children by providing the solar cells as well as a big TV, as well as all of the things that they've been lacking. And it has been attracting a lot of criticism as well as praises on the internet. But this really shows that there is a lot of inequality in Thailand, and how these children and some villages are so deprived of what they actually need. Even the children, they didn't even finish school. Like most of them didn't even step into secondary school. They only finished primary school, and that's it for them. They don't even have ambitions. They don't even know what they want to do in their lives. So
that village doesn't even have electricity.
Yes.
So, it's very difficult to imagine things outside that village if it's so far away from everything, and they don't get to see anything outside there. So they only know what they see in their life because they are children. And if the viewers wondering what are we talking about, if you go on our website, we actually have a story about this, about the Children's Day YouTube video that melts hearts and sparks hot debate on inequality. And we post a clip on that news article for you too, so you can get to see the original clip. It's like it said on the article, it's the heart melt, and you can feel something for those children.
Definitely, it's very heartwarming, although it has attracted a lot of praise online, but it really attracted a lot of criticism at the same time as well. So you can definitely check out this article on our website, thaipbsworld.com, to find out more details and find out why there is so much criticism around it as well. And that wraps up tonight's edition of Thai PBS World Tonight. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ